Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Charlene Aaron. Today, the Senate moving to pass a bill protecting same-sex marriage. Faith-based groups warn the measure could put severe limitations on religious freedom.
This would essentially give a green light to those who want to persecute people of faith.
We'll look at the concerns that this new bill could lead to lawsuits and be disastrous for churches and faith-based organizations. After over a week of counting the ballots, the Republicans have finally retaken the House of Representatives. So what will be the GOP's agenda now that it has control of Congress once again? A transgender teenager wins a local Miss America pageant. Some say it's a sign of a culture in decline, amid warnings of the dangers of gender changes.
One oncology doctor at a major East Coast hospital said to transition is to give yourself cancer. We need some leaders that have a clear enough head and a keen enough conscience that they will say enough. Transgender activists, you're not going to do this to the American people.
And a new exhibit is showing the works of the Sistine Chapel. You'll be able to look at Michelangelo's masterpiece in a way never before seen.
It's almost as if we're looking at God creating the world, the beginning of Genesis, and we're seeing the cornucopia, the richness of God's creation unfolding in front of us.
We'll bring you a look at the images that people are calling awe-inspiring. Those stories and more today on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
And we begin in Washington, where the Senate is moving quickly to pass a same-sex marriage bill. But faith-based groups are warning it could sharply curtail religious freedom. A final vote could take place this week. Heather Sells has our top story.
Senate Democrats want to pass the bill soon while their party still controls the House. Religious freedom advocates, however, say it would encourage lawsuits and spell disaster for churches and faith-based organizations.
This would essentially give a green light to those who want to persecute people of faith.
This deceptively named Respect for Marriage Act really disrespects the American people and threatens our most basic freedom.
The bill's champions, like Senate Leader Chuck Schumer, say it would protect marriage equality for all Americans.
It will make our country a better, fairer place to live.
Longtime LGBT supporters like Senator Tammy Baldwin say it protects gay Americans from a Supreme Court she believes wants to harm them.
The same legal arguments that the Supreme Court rested upon to reverse Roe v. Wade could just as easily be applied to reverse numerous other cases related to families, related to intimate relations.
Justice Clarence Thomas suggested that possibility in his concurring opinion, although the majority opinion rejected the idea. The 12 Senate Republicans supporting the bill maintain that it provides adequate religious liberty protections.
The bill also makes clear that no religious organization will be required to provide any services for the celebration of same-sex marriage. That means that no church or religious organization will be required to perform, recognize, or celebrate same-sex marriages. We also took steps to protect the tax-exempt status of religious nonprofit organizations.
While the Mormon Church supports the bill, many religious freedom advocates believe it would put people of faith and faith-based nonprofits at great risk. The Religious Freedom Institute warns it treats those who defend traditional marriage as bigots. Southern Baptists and Alliance Defending Freedom say it invites litigation.
Unless you comply with this, you can face lawsuits, you can face federal government action, you could even potentially lose your tax-exempt status.
And GOP senators like James Lankford believe its loopholes don't provide equal treatment for those of faith.
I believe the rights of every individual should be honored. But this is not choosing to be able to protect the rights of every individual. This is saying some people are more equal than others. That's a problem.
A final vote on the bill is expected as early as this week or by the end of the month. President Biden has promised to sign it. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Republicans have finally won control of the House of Representatives after more than a week of counting in close congressional races. The GOP victory will give conservatives the capability of slowing down President Biden's agenda, and they will look at launching a number of investigations into various subjects, including Hunter Biden's business dealings, President Biden's chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, the administration's policies on the southern border, which critics say is wide open, COVID lockdowns and mandates, and more. But the Republicans' small victory will likely make it difficult for GOP leaders to carry out their agenda. And Democrats still have control of the Senate, limiting Republicans' ability to get things done. Actress Candace Cameron Bure is facing backlash over her comments in a recent interview. Bure has moved from the Hallmark channel to a competitor, Great American Family. Bure told the Wall Street Journal, "I knew that the people behind Great American Family were Christians that loved the Lord and wanted to promote faith programming and good family entertainment." And she said that unlike Hallmark, which is leaning into LGBTQ storylines, Great American Family will keep traditional marriage at the core. Bure was quickly criticized by others in the entertainment community, with one actress calling her a, quote, bigot for her. But Bure's daughter is defending her, praising her faith online on Instagram. And you can read the full story on CBNNews.com. Coming up, a biological male wins a local Miss America beauty pageant as a transgender contestant. We'll look at the implications of this sign of a changing culture in America when we come back. Well, it's one for the history books, probably something many of us thought we'd never see. In Derry, New Hampshire, a transgender teen has won a local Miss America beauty pageant, qualifying to compete in the state contest and possibly for the Miss America national crown. And that hasn't happened until now. 19-year-old Brían Nguyen said she's honored to be crowned Miss Greater Derry 2023 as the first transgender title holder in the 100-year history of Miss America. Is it long overdue or another sign of a culture in decline? On this week's episode of CBN's Global Lane, Gary Lane posed that question and more to religion and culture analyst Alex McFarland.
This is just a political move just to try to get on a cultural bandwagon. And just the mainstreaming of homosexuality, the attempted mainstreaming of gay marriage, and now the insistence that transgenderism is normal and healthy and is appropriate for human beings. This is tragic. This is tragic. It really is not progressive or groundbreaking. It's actually regressive and is severely harming the lives of people.
Well, let's talk about how it's doing that. Beyond Miss Greater Derry 2023, two Florida medical boards, the Board of Medicine and Osteopathic Medicine, ban gender transition surgeries, cross-sex hormones, and puberty blockers for minors in their state. Are we now seeing a pushback against transgender surgeries for children, actually butchery? Is this a trend, or might it be limited to just a few states like Florida?
Well, I certainly hope that the medical professionals of America will have the courage to stand for good medicine and good patient care rather than cave into the lobby of the transgender activists. We're talking about, for any age, gender reassignment surgery is wrong. It's what philosophers would call against the design. It's forcing the human body to do things the human body wasn't designed to do. But for minors, like in California, September of 2021, there was a bill that children and teens in California can go for gender reassignment surgeries, puberty blockers, and the parents, not only can the parents not stop it, they don't even have to be informed. Do you understand? We're talking about the sterilization of children. This is evil. This is wicked. The sterilization of children. And not to mention the other health implications, estrogen for males, high doses of testosterone for females. One oncology doctor at a major East Coast hospital said to transition is to give yourself cancer. We need some leaders that have a clear enough head and a keen enough conscience that they will say enough transgender activist. You're not going to do this to the American people.
Well, that is science and medicine. Let's move into the spiritual now. Surveys have shown that a majority of American teens are less likely to rate religion as important in their lives. Most forego church attendance or Bible reading. Is that why more teens today seek to change their gender, either with hormone therapy or surgery, or are there other cultural factors at play here?
Well, America's teens are in a crisis of truth and a crisis of identity. I mean, they don't know what's real, and they don't know who they are. And even since COVID in the last 2 years, the number of young people, and they're not only, millennials, Gen Z, zillennials, and younger, but the number of kids that said they don't believe in God has risen about 8 percentage points since COVID. And what's interesting is that even kids that claim to be Christian, of kids raised in a Christian environment and claim to have made a profession of faith, 45% say other religions are true as well. And the numbers vary, but I will say spiritually, we can talk about this from the aspects of science or, what is medically appropriate for individuals. But as a Christian and as a student of our history, we're in a spiritual place that is not good. We need a movement of the Holy Spirit. We need unity within all camps of Christianity. And we need to pray for God to send a great awakening to our nation, because we're in a moral and cultural and spiritual freefall right now.
And one thing that you're doing is viral truth campus clubs. Tell us about that.
Well, thanks very much. For more than 20 years, we've done conferences all over the country called Truth for a New Generation, and we've got several next year. And you can learn about our apologetics and worldview events at my own website, which is alexmcfarland.com. We're equipping middle school, high school, and even some college students to know what they believe, why they believe it, and to really lovingly but effectively stand back against the insanity of the moment. And I will say kids are hungry for it. It's thrilling to see the way that the Spirit of God is moving in the lives of young people. And so the Viral Truth Campus Clubs are just a part of that. But I would say to everybody watching, if you love God and country, be informed, be mindful of what's going on, but do not be discouraged. 1 Corinthians 15:58 says, our labor in the Lord is not in vain. So let's speak the truth, and let's keep our eyes on Jesus, but let's do what we can do to influence those around us, beginning with young people who so desperately need to hear truth.
Okay, shining light in the midst of cultural darkness, Alex McFarland, Alex McFarland Ministries. Thank you, Alex, for taking time today to share your thoughts with us. We appreciate it.
God bless you, and God bless CBN.
Also on tonight's Global Lane program, a spokesman for China's Uyghur ethnics explains why he expects worse persecution for his people after President Biden's meeting with President Xi. And robots creating their own code at Google. Is a jobless apocalypse coming? Watch these stories and more on the Global Lane tonight on the CBN News Channel at 8:30 Eastern or on the CBN News app. Still ahead, a new exhibit is showing the works of the Sistine Chapel. You'll get a glimpse of Michelangelo's masterpiece in a way never before seen. We'll have an up-close look at the larger-than-life images that people are calling awe-inspiring right after this. Imagine being able to enjoy the beauty and wonder of the Sistine Chapel right in your own city. People in more than 60 cities across the globe can do exactly that. A traveling exhibit is giving visitors a unique look at Michelangelo's vision of the creation. CBN's Gabe LaMonica brings us that story.
When Michelangelo brought the Bible to life some 500 years ago, it's hard to imagine he thought his masterpiece on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel would ever make its way from the Vatican to a shopping mall in Richmond, Virginia. But here we are. The agony and the ecstasy. In 1965, Charlton Heston's portrayal of a 33-year-old Michelangelo Buonarroti transported the Sistine Chapel to the silver screen.
I wanted to paint man as he was first created.
Now, a roving global exhibit is bringing visitors face to face with the Italian artist's visualization of the book of Genesis.
It's almost as if we're looking at God creating the world, the beginning of Genesis, and we're seeing the cornucopia, the richness of God's creation unfolding in front of us.
From Adam's creation.
It gives me the chills. It truly gave me anxiety to see how close but not quite touching their fingers were.
Showing that tangible space between man and God, to the downfall, a pained look, banished from paradise. Soon, Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, the exhibition, will hit 80 cities, bringing to life 9 scenes from the Bible. Tiffany, I feel like you are living proof that you don't need to know anything about Michelangelo or the Sistine Chapel to appreciate his paintings.
Absolutely.
Which is your favorite?
So my favorite one is over here in the Ancestors of Christ room. There's a guy in the back that's back here. You won't be able to see that 60 feet up in Italy.
No need for a deep background in art history to appreciate this masterpiece.
Many of them say that they weren't able to see the ceiling clearly because it was so high up, or they didn't have enough time to really look at the ceilings.
The cracked frescoes shown in vivid relief, even revealing the Great Flood.
There we can see the ark, which Noah built at the instruction from God.
A level of access to the world-famous paintings that even connoisseurs can appreciate.
You've been once, and you haven't ever forgotten it, and it astonished you when you saw it. I think I've been 55 times in my life, and it never fails to astonish me every time I go in.
Professor William Wallace has written 8 books on the sculptor-turned-painter.
Michelangelo is an artist who goes from 0 to 60 in less than a second. He just is capable of undertaking monumental tasks and carrying them out so that suddenly the artist who's never painted a fresco paints the most important fresco in the world.
Some of the brass tacks, the vault is nearly 7 stories high, with some 5,000 square feet of painting. And even on a curved ceiling, Michelangelo achieves a 3-dimensional effect.
The technical challenges are astronomical, and it's just amazing how well he solved all of them. The first being, how do you get a scaffold up there? But then how do you paint 14-foot seated figures that are 14 feet high, that are on that curve, and yet make them look like they're just properly proportioned and seated, not in some kind of mirror-like thing.
Yeah, it's like it could have looked like a house of mirrors. A funny mirror,
yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. House of horrors.
Instead of horror, the awe of God.
What you have painted there, my son, is not a portrait of God. It's a proof of faith.
Whether you're religious or not, this image of God creating man is the ultimate symbol of the creation story. That's the legacy Michelangelo left when he created one of the most famous works of art in the world. Gabe LaMonica, CBN News, Richmond, Virginia.
After a deadly storm hit the Philippines recently, CBN's Operation Blessing has been on the scene, helping people with food, water, and shelter. We'll have that story when we come back. Stay with us. People in the Philippines are picking up the pieces after a deadly storm hit the nation recently. Landslides and floods killed more than 150 people, and thousands more have been in need of food, water, and shelter. As Lucille Talusan shows us, CBN's Operation Blessing has been helping meet the need.
This unexpected situation happened at the height of Tropical Storm Nalgae as it made landfall in the Philippines. While trying to flee the storm, Melissa Calisnao suddenly went into labor. Melissa and her husband were so thankful that a midwife was there to help.
I rushed my wife and 3-year-old son to the community hall, but we did not expect that she will give birth because she is only on her 8th month.
I was shocked to see my son's clothes already wet, because the flood water already reached our bed. I quickly jumped out of bed with my son and rushed to the nearby hall. Then I felt the labor pains.
Flooding from Typhoon Nalgae affected thousands around Metro Manila and nearby provinces, including Miracle Mendez and her family.
The strong current swept away the wall of the first floor. When we felt our house trembling and the water already reached our chest, we rushed to the second floor, went out the window, and crossed to the roof of our neighbor. We stayed there, my 3 kids and my parents, from midnight until 6 in the morning when the floodwaters started to recede.
After bearing the brunt of Typhoon Nalgae, the people here are facing another challenge, and that is cleaning their homes of the mud and washing the clothes that have been swept away by floods. But people here are thankful that they survived and that they are all alive.
We left everything because I was afraid that we might drown. All I thought about was for my kids and elderly parents to be safe. We did not have food. There was nowhere to buy food because the water was still waist deep. And that is why when my neighbor told me to list my name for Operation Blessing, we were given food last night.
Mendez told CBN News that it was their first meal. Thanks to Operation Blessing's One Step Ahead program, many families were able to receive much-needed food bags right after the storm.
Thank you very much, Operation Blessing. We immediately cooked the rice, noodles, and the canned goods that you gave us.
Aside from physical food, Mendez and her family also received the best miracle as they prayed to receive Jesus in their lives. Operation Blessing also visited Melissa and baby Paeng, who was named after the local name of Typhoon Nalgae.
Thank you so much, Operation Blessing, for all of this, especially for the things for our baby.
Lucille Talusan, CBN News, Cavite, Philippines.
Thank God for Operation Blessing. That's going to do it for this edition of Newswatch. Remember, you can find more of our CBN News programs on the CBN News channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. Also, tell us what you think about the stories you've seen. Email us, newswatch@cbn.com. Talk to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. God bless you. Have a fantastic day. Hope you'll join us next time.